Welcome back into a Week 13 preview edition of the Daft on Draft podcast. Again, Corey Kennan, James Foster here, ready to roll through this thing. No need for any sort of introduction here. James, we're running out of games to talk about, man.
And this is a week where it seems like half of the teams, Power Five teams, scheduled Samford or
Yep.
Eastern Kentucky or something. So
This is the SEC Cupcake Week.
a lot of skips.
Um, yes, a lot of skips. Like, there's even some Big Ten games that are skips. Like, do we need to talk about Ohio State versus Rutgers?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Ohio
there's
State kind of has like Indiana's schedule last year outside
oh,
of the Texas game, which has turned out to not be as great of competition, but yeah, from an evaluation standpoint, it can be a little bit tricky.
yeah, I do think that Julian Sayin is going to win the Heisman, but I understand the argument for people who are like he should not win it because that schedule's been absolute cake,
Here's
and
the
I
thing.
get it.
Yeah. I think that the bigger conferences have allowed like these kind of soft schedules, but that's how it existed for some teams when you had the divisions that were super lopsided. But the one thing that does sort of remedy it is for the really good teams, we at least get a few games, hopefully in the playoffs at the end of the season that are really good competition. Which like last year, it was crucial for some players. So um,
Mhm.
that'll be big for a lot of guys.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. So, as of the last 3 weeks now, we're going to be throwing in some bold predictions in with this to mix it up a little bit too. Um, yeah, man. Let's just start off here with Oklahoma, Missouri. So I do have a bold take about this game as well. Dude, I'm just not there with John Mateer's tape. I think he looks pretty similar to what he did at Washington State last year in terms of how his eyes are working and some of the decision making. Which at Washington State, I didn't think it was very good, and so far, this year at Oklahoma has not been great either. This is also the kind of game that I think that Oklahoma could get really upset in because Ahmad Hardy is going to grind this game out to a core. Bo Prabula is back in this as well, so I think the run game is going to be tough. And again, Oklahoma does have some really good interior defensive linemen: Grayson Holton, Jaden Jackson, David Stone. Like those guys are very stout. But we saw what the Lacey kid at Ole Miss was able to do to that defense as well. So, and I do think that there are a lot of decent offensive linemen for Missouri there with Keegan Trost and Connor Tollison, and whatever you think of Caden Green as a prospect. I think as a college blocker, he's pretty okay. So, um, this feels like a game that could get a little tricky. And so my bold take here is a mixture of, I think this is a trap game plus not trusting John Mateer. John Mateer throws 2 interceptions, and Missouri upsets Oklahoma. This is my bold prediction for this game.
I like it. Yeah, I don't know how sustainable winning games like they did last week is, even though it was against a very good opponent.
Yeah. In terms of NFL draftees to keep an eye on, at this point, does Deion Burks even get drafted day 2? Like, what do you do with a gadget guy that doesn't get targets?
I don't think he gets drafted day two.
I don't think so
I
either.
really
Like,
liked his tape at one point back at Purdue, and then he showed flashes earlier this season, but there's just no consistency.
mhm,
Um, I mean, my two highest graded players in this game are on the Missouri front seven: Josiah Trotter and Zion Young,
mhm,
the linebacker and edge rusher, respectively. Also
mhm,
have an early day 3 grade on R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. Late fourth round on Damon Wilson, the Missouri edge rusher. I like a lot of what he does. And to me, the lack of bend is the main thing that's keeping him from a day 2 grade. And I think if he has eligibility. So I would say
mhm.
go back to school would be the grade I would give. And then
Yeah.
some day 3 grades like John Mateer, Kevin Coleman Jr., the receiver.
Have you watched Keegan Trost yet, the right tackle for
I
Missouri?
haven't, but
32
he
inch
he
arms, so he's
is
definitely a guard. But
okay. Yeah, no, he's highlighted on my sheet as a
okay.
to watch guy.
He's decent. He's decent. I don't know if I would. He's definitely a day 3 and probably on the later side of day 3. But I think he could go in and add guard depth and be maybe a 6th, 7th guy, a jumbo guy,
So many
at the
six
NFL level.
sevens, dude.
I know. God, don't say that. Please don't say that. But yeah, he's like well traveled too. Like he went to like from like Morgan State to Indiana State to Wake Forest to Missouri. So he's well traveled. If I got those schools right, I think I got those schools right. Um, all right, Miami, Virginia Tech also kind of feels like a little bit of a trappy game. You know, Virginia Tech's coming off the high of the James Franklin hire. They've got some talent along that defensive line too. I like Kamari Copeland quite a bit, a defensive tackle for Virginia Tech there. Um, yeah, I don't
I
think.
got a bold prediction for this game.
All right, go for it.
So
Let it
I
rip.
think that Virginia Tech running back Marcellus Hawkins is a guy that's stood out to me in a really weak running back class where I'm looking for somebody with some size.
Yeah.
5'11", 219. He's been really productive. Had a solid week last week. So my bold prediction is that he has a 15-plus yard run where he breaks a tackle from Miami safety Jacoby Thomas. And that could be trucking him. It can't be trucking him and then like that is what tackles him, but trucking him and continuing to run, it can be juking him out. It can be like they're really close. He start stop burns an angle, anything where PFF would chart it as a missed tackle force basically. So
Okay.
that's how we're gonna do it.
Marcellus Hawkins has been a little bit of a revelation in this
Yeah,
class.
I haven't heard anything about him,
Mm-mm.
so I don't know if he's gonna go early, but I've been keeping tabs on him, and I still feel good about an early day 3 grade on him.
Eric Galco, if you're listening to this podcast, get Marcellus Hawkins to the Shrine Bowl,
Yep.
please. All right. From Miami, have you watched Keelan Marion at all?
No, I
So
have
he's a
not heard.
BYU transfer who is a burner, and he's only started producing over like the last 3 weeks because the
Receiver?
production's been down for CJ. Yeah, production's been down for CJ Daniels,
Yeah.
and he's averaging like 25 yards a catch or something like that. But it's only been like the last 3 weeks, and he's out of eligibility, so he's draft eligible. So I've been meaning to get back and tap back into the tape there for Keelan Marion, but I'll be keeping an eye on that as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I think that's probably it for that game. I mean, is there like?
I
This is
think
just
one thing I will
tough
say
slate.
is that Ruben Bain Jr. has looked a step slower. I think the last 3 weeks compared to how he started the season, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
the injury could be kind of affecting his play speed a little bit. So I'll point that out.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like a longevity issue with his injury history and with his frame. You
Yeah,
know?
it is a concern. That's why I've dropped his grade a little bit, just because there's been it's a lot of inconsistency as far as just how he looks moving on the field. Freshman year looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Sophomore year was not as impressive. Start to his junior year was even better, and then a little bit of a downswing. I mean, he's still winning as a pass rusher. It's just less dominant.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even think like is there anything to talk about with Louisville's SMU other than just like yelling Chris Bell's name again? Chris Bell, watch Chris Bell. Like
Yeah, I Chris Bell seems to be somebody that there's split opinions on.
Mike Renner's really low on him. I saw that.
Really, yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen people say that he's stiff, which I don't really agree with. But I mean the way that he can sink his hips, I think
at 227. Yeah,
yeah, stiff is like the opposite of how I would describe him. But I think that there are maybe some limitations as far as his deployment. I think like a lot of it, I get the flashbacks to Xavier Leggett where they do kind of have a similar route tree and athletic build, but I mean, there's also um, players of that build that have been successful. So
yeah.
it's like
So
you can point to the worst, most recent example for anything.
yeah, for sure. So I get the deployment thing because where Bell has been getting, although he had that deep over last week, that was awesome. Um, but where Bill has been winning, I don't know if I want to say this though. I was gonna say like, yeah, I could see like maybe even teams could pigeonhole him to like a Z slot because a lot of what he does is house shallow crosses and slants. But then like I say that, but then I like watch him work against press man and catch a slant, and he literally will shove a defensive back 2 yards off the line of scrimmage and beat press. So it's like,
Right.
I don't know, dude. I think he could play wherever you want him to play, like Z slot
Okay.
X.
What do you what do you think Chris Bell's most targeted route is this year?
Man, he runs a
Or
lot of shallow crosses.
tell me his three. Tell me his three. They're actually
Drag,
he
slant,
has
comeback.
it's drag, go, and hitch, which a hitch is kind of
Okay.
like a comeback.
Yeah. Okay.
As far as how they chart it.
Pretty
So
close.
yeah, it's
The shallow
it's
crosses
like
all over his tape. They're just
it's
plastering him.
he's a guy where it's you get man coverage. I'm just gonna outrun you horizontally on 3rd and 5 with the drag route. I'm gonna outrun you vertically, go. But then he is really flexible where he can decelerate on the hitch. I want to see more horizontal breaking routes though, outs and digs, which I think. So I think that's a fair criticism. I don't see really the athletic limitations.
I don't either.
Personally.
No, I think he's gonna run like a 4.42.
Right,
Which
and
that's
I
not
think
flexibility, but
I think he could. I think if he does the agilities, I think they would be good for his size.
I think so too. So I think that's really it. I mean, we could talk about Rene Conga as well, but like, I couldn't name you any interior offense. Logan Parr, that's a name. I do know a name along SMU's interior offensive line, but like, I don't think there's a real. Yeah, Cleve Lubin against PJ Williams. Yeah, that's a decent one.
I've charted Cleve Lubin. He's a guy with a really like diverse and multifaceted move set where like so he has 5 different moves that he's won with between 8 and 10 times. That's long arm, cross chop, inside move, bull rush, and then hook, which is basically where what I chart for where you're just like grabbing the outside wrist and kind of ripping through. So he's got like 5 things that he does at a high level, and he's just kind of alternating between them, and it's a I'm always hesitant to be like, oh, you got to have all these different moves, because what's really important is being good at the moves that you do use. But somebody like Cleve Lubin who can execute a bunch of different moves at a high level, that is very valuable.
Yeah, I agree. He's one of my. He might be my favorite sawed-off DPR in this class. I've come to love the really sawed-off DPRs, dude. Like the guys who can like really get into your chest and you can't get them out.
Arm length. I think if I had to rank the importance of arm length for positions, edge rusher has steadily gone down and down the list. I think in the run game is where there's probably the most importance, but for pass rushing, I don't really see it as too valuable.
I agree.
I think it can be more like it's nice to have it. I don't see it as detrimental when you have short arms, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. But
like
yeah,
when you've got 35-inch arms, there's some like I've been talking about with Malachi Lawrence for UCF. Like there are ways that you can weaponize that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like BJ Ojolari coming out of LSU a few years ago is the same kind of way. I was really high on BJ Ojolari, so I hope he can come back healthy and bounce back. But yeah, Cleve Lubin, man, I've really enjoyed his tape this year. And he had that awesome rep against Blake Miller last week.
Yeah.
All right, dude. We got to scroll a little bit here. I mean, we could talk about Baylor, Arizona, Traden Stukes, Josh Cameron. Do we want to spend any time here?
No.
Not a whole lot there to really talk about. Oregon, USC. There we go. That's a really good game to talk about.
This is probably my personal game of the week.
It has to be the game of the week. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, like,
it's not a hot take at all.
No.
Now that I continue to scroll. Okay.
Man, now I have a bold prediction, but like, I can't really like see this bold prediction come to fruition until the end of April. Can I make a bold prediction that doesn't come to fruition until the end of April?
Just do a after draft.
Okay, after draft. Here we go. After draft. Dante Moore plays extreme. Like Dante Moore puts out clean tape versus USC, and he goes first overall in the 2026 NFL draft.
So I think Dante, if that happens, Dante Moore will probably end up as my number one player.
Total overall,
Right.
even over Arvell Reese and defensive players.
Right. Because I
That's
account
fair.
for
You do the
positional value, so
team
yeah.
building weight. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would definitely like a quarterback that I felt confident in that would get a number one pick grade for me. Um, but it would really just come down to him and Mendoza, and I'm trying to think about which teams would be in the running and who they might prefer. Like I would lean towards drafting that though.
I would draft it too. Again, like, and this doesn't counteract the love for Mendoza that I've had the whole year. And I would still probably have Mendoza QB1. Although I said on like what, a month and a half ago that like if Moore keeps it up, I could see it being really easy for me to move Moore to QB1 based on what he's been asked to do in that offense versus Mendoza, who if you just let them stay ahead of the sticks, all he's got to do is rip RPOs into leverage all day. I can see it being easier for an NFL team to see with Moore versus Mendoza.
Yeah. And I think that to me the throws that Moore was able to make on the run, layering them over second level defenders
Mm-hmm.
last week, there were like 4 or 5. I was making a cut up for him, and I thought I accidentally included duplicate plays or something, and I had to go back and check. I'm like, no, he literally did this
Those
5 different
backside overs
times.
on boot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
insane stuff. That yeah, I'm totally bought in on Dante Moore.
Yeah, I love him. I love him. To me, again, I've said it over and over again. Like, there are just so many parallels between 2025 Dante Moore at Oregon and 2022 CJ Stroud at Ohio State. Like, and 2022 CJ Stroud has been some of my favorite tape to ever evaluate. Um,
Can
just
I
like, yep.
can I tell you what my one hesitation with Moore and with Fernando Mendoza is that they have not really played well against the best competition that they've
Mm-hmm.
faced, and they have not faced very good competition overall. And I know we've
Mm-hmm.
canceled Ty Simpson, but when you look at the stretch of, and I understand the reasons, but like when we look at the stretch of games on Alabama's schedule, uh, they just
We've canceled Tyson.
not to go all Paul Feinbaum here, but like they just haven't faced the same slate of defenses. You know, they haven't had the Ty Simpson Oklahoma games because they haven't faced Oklahoma, Missouri, all these defenses back to back, and when they have faced them, they've kind of struggled like Ty Simpson has. So
Yeah.
um, just I want to see for both of them some. I think they still have prove it games against really good defensive competition that are left on the schedule when you
Mm-hmm.
include the playoffs. So like, or if Fernando Mendoza goes 20 for 26, 283 touchdowns against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, that all that thing that I said kind of becomes irrelevant. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think at this point the resume against good competition is still lacking for both of them.
I think so too. And I think those are valid concerns. The traits, man, like I just like the way that Moore wins is really easy to develop because he's not like gun shy under pressure.
Right.
He's not like
And the difference here, to me, this is like the difference between being my fourth or fifth ranked player, or my first or second ranked player.
yeah,
In this class especially, because
yeah,
there's not blue chip talent that I'm really going to be passing a quarterback up for.
no,
If I think there's a chance he can play down the line at least.
yeah, and I agree with that. Maybe this is the time to have the conversation since this is a week late. But like looking ahead to the Big Ten championship game, and again, if Oregon wins this game, they're going to play in the playoffs. Like, because they're not going to play in the Big Ten championship game because Indiana's not going to lose to Purdue. I guess it's possible Ohio State could still lose to Michigan, and then I don't know what the tiebreaker is if Oregon would get into over Ohio State or not. But I think that Indiana's offense actually matches up pretty well with Ohio State's defense because the only time that like I feel that Indiana has really been killed has been through the interior of their offensive line. Again, that was Zane Durant's best game. That was the game Amari Washington pancaked the right guard right back into Mendoza's lap. But when I look at Ohio State's defensive tackles and Caden McDonald, for the heck of a player that he is he's not a super nuanced pass rusher. And so like when I look at how they match up, I think that Mendoza is going to be able to stay on schedule a little bit. So I think it's going to be a better game than people are anticipating that it could be.
Yeah. So I think fully healthy, like if we just loaded this game up in NCAA or something, I would probably agree with that. I think the right side of the offensive line for Indiana has been injured. Like Khalil Benson looks like he's walking on stilts out there, even more so than normal. And like that's not me calling him stiff. He's just injured and playing through it. And then Drew Evans, their starting guard, has been injured as well. Bray Lynch, the guy who got pancaked by Amari Washington, he is what he is. So they've got some weaknesses on the right side of the O line. I think that it'll be, I don't know. It's hard for me to say that a team matches up well with Ohio State's defense. I think they've got receivers that can, go toe to toe with Ohio State secondary for sure. And I think the running game even though they don't have like individual stars to me, as runners or blockers, it's just a really well coached and like cohesive running game. And so it should be. I'm fascinated for the matchup, not only as an Indiana fan, but just like I really have no idea what to predict. Because like Ohio State does have more talent, and so there still is that possibility in the back of my mind that the game just gets away from them. But, I was surprised by the Oregon outcome, so I think that's definitely a possibility that they win.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say about Indiana before we stop talking about a team that's on a bye this week anyway. Charlie Becker's going to be one of my first watches when May rolls around.
Oh, yeah?
Dude, Charlie Becker's awesome.
He went to high school about 20 minutes away from my house. Father
Really?
Ryan.
Yep. He's awesome. Anyway, back to Oregon USC. We're going to get some pretty decent offensive line, defensive line matchups in this game as well. Anthony Lucas, Isaiah World, Mekhi Lemon at wide receiver against the young Oregon secondary, but he's probably going to get matched up quite a bit with Jaden Canaday, who I think is a really good nickel in this class. It's a good nickel class. So I think we've got some fun head-to-heads here.
I've got so many players graded. I have 19 players in this game with grades, USC and Oregon.
That's ridiculous.
And it's not just Oregon. I mean, Dante Moore, Mekhi Lemon, Emmanuel Pregnon, Kenyon Sadiq, and Anthony Lucas. Those are my top 5. Then you go down the list. Dylan Thieneman and Kamari Ramsey, the safeties. Amari Washington, defensive lineman. Isaiah World, offensive tackle. Receiver Jacoby Lane. And we still haven't even gotten to the edge rusher, Mateo Uyunglele. Waymon Jordan, the running back, who I think...
He's not coming back. I just looked.
Okay. Bear Alexander, Iapani Lololo, the center, and then some day 3 guys like Bryce Betcher, Alex Harkey, Eric Gentry, Bishop Fitzgerald. It's a loaded.
The list goes on.
Yeah, and there's
Gentry,
probably guys that'll get drafted that I haven't watched for sure.
Yeah, Eric Gentry might be the weirdest built prospect I've ever seen in my life.
He gets pushed around.
He's like 6'6" and 210 pounds.
I've never seen a linebacker get pushed around like that, but he is like I do see the redeeming qualities. It just there has to be. I don't think he has eligibility left, but like I can't draft a guy that can't hold up it with through contact like that.
No, I don't like. What do you do with them? You can't put him on the edge.
Yeah.
Can't like move him to tight end. I don't know. Power slot. He's a slot receiver now. I don't know. All right, Arkansas, Texas. Again, I don't. What do we want to talk about here? Nothing. It's Taylor Green. Are you a man or a mouse? I don't know. What else is to talk about in that game?
Yeah. So Quincy Rhodes continues to get mocked really highly, and I don't see it on tape. I see it as like down the road. I'm not like out on him as a prospect. It's just I don't see it as a first rounder this year. And not that a team, it only takes one team to like him, but for me that would be a pick that I disagreed with. I think he hasn't proven it as a speed rusher. And it's like all of his best reps come on the interior, and he's too he isn't really built to play on the inside in the NFL.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I wonder, given the state of Arkansas, if he'd just prefer to make the leap instead of going back or transferring instead of portaling.
He'd be seems like the kind
he'd
of
be a hot commodity.
Like 247 would inexplicably rate as a 3-star transfer because he wasn't a high recruit.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right.
They'll rank.
Let's move on.
Justin Flow or whatever the.
Oh yeah, the UNLV linebacker, Oregon to Arizona to UNLV.
That's got to be the easiest job is doing transfer recruiting rankings. You just have to copy and paste.
You just guess. Yeah.
Copy and paste and then mix it with PFF grades.
Yep. Love it. All right. Let's see here. This is where we're at, huh? Let's go Tennessee, Florida. Let's go Tennessee, Florida here. We've got Caleb Banks has returned to the wait.
We gotta do the my bold prediction for Anthony Lucas.
Oh yes.
So my bold prediction, I'm actually gonna up the ante from what I said originally. I'm gonna say Anthony Lucas gets a strip sack against Oregon.
It's not good for my Dante Moore stocks.
It'll be one where, how about this? It'll be one where it was clearly Isaiah World's fault.
Okay.
Like no, like that's not included.
Clean beat.
That's not like included in the bold take, but just to kind of ease your mind, just we'll say that's
James has been on a really big Anthony Lucas kick right now, so
yeah,
he's not coming down off of it.
Next time we do a mock, he's gonna be the guy that I'm taking like 26.
Really?
The James stunt.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Yep, we're moving on to Tennessee, Florida here. Caleb Banks has returned to the field here. A pretty decent interior offensive line to take advantage of too, if you wanted to have a resume game before declaring for the draft. In hopes of still becoming a first round pick.
Disappointed.
So I still think he's going to get drafted like day 3, but like those squatty body types always get drafted day 3. Like that's just kind of where they're pegged, they're pigeonholed, you know?
Yeah, he's lost to power a lot recently.
That's odd.
Which kind of defeats the purpose. It's like with Caden Proctor, where it's like once I saw Caden Proctor start losing to bull rushes, it's like, okay, well then what's the point of having a 360-pound plus tackle that can't anchor? So that I'm kind of out on Wyndham though.
Yeah, David Saunders though, dude. 2 years. I gotta wait 2 years on that dude, but my God, he's so good.
And they've got some banshees at edge. That's the position where they're kind of a factory that they just recruit and develop. Jordan Ross is a 5-star. That'll be he's explosive as hell. He'll be good in a couple of years.
Speaking of Tennessee edge rushers as well, we've got Jonathan Joseph versus Austin Barber in this game. Has a head-to-head. Again, Austin Barber, I think, is firmly a day 3 tackle. He might get the offensive tackle boost and go late 3rd.
Austin
I
Barber's
wouldn't
kind of just
draft him there.
food for every good
Yeah,
SEC edge rusher that I've
yeah.
seen. Joshua Joseph, so 37 edge rushers that I've charted this year. He has the highest percentage of wins that are with a speed rush, like on the outside track, 68%.
Hell
He
yeah.
is at 18% power, 14% inside move. Um, and of those speed rushing, of that 68% speed rushing, it's 36% is the hook move. So it's a very like one dimensional pass rushing plan, and I don't think he has ideal bend. So I'm not huge on Joshua Josephs.
No, no.
He
I
does
think yeah,
have like
D3.
35-inch arms though, which
Yeah.
teams will love. With like he's explosive with 35-inch arms. He's kind of in the deny Dennis Sutton like range of athlete, although Dennis Sutton is a lot more filled out and
Mhm.
a better power rusher for sure. But just as far as like uh, size and explosiveness, but more of a linear athlete than flexible and change of direction.
Dennis Sutton has like 22 pressures over the past 2 weeks.
Did you see, dude? Michigan State. I say this every year.
They're left tackles.
Every year
A cone.
there's a like worst left tackle I've seen in my life. 2 years ago, it was UCLA's left tackle. Last year, it was both of Pittsburgh's tackles after the Chargers, the guy the Chargers drafted, got injured. This year, it's Michigan State's left tackle. Everybody that goes up against him, it's no competition. I initially, when I was looking for who to give helmet stickers for last week, I was like, oh, denied Dennis Sutton 10 pressures, 2 sacks, whatever. I was against Michigan State. I still watch them, but the Michigan State's offensive line leaves you immune to helmets. Like
Yeah.
you're out of the competition. Although their center Matt Golban,
Mhm.
have you watched him?
I
I've
haven't.
I, I've seen like I think he could get drafted potentially like on day 3, but yeah, none of the tackles.
No. No. The Montana kid, the Montana transfer they got playing right tackle's young though. We'll see what happens there, but um
That they need Aiden Childs to transfer.
I think he's
He
going to transfer, dude.
I was looking at under center dropbacks this year. He ranks 5th in college football with 44 under center dropbacks. Had a bunch last year. Um,
Yeah.
Ty Simpson has 36. How many do you think Mendoza has?
Under center?
Yeah, 1.
I was going to like say 4. Yeah. Any a quarterback sneak probably?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Dante Moore has 17. Yeah.
Yeah, that's up. All right. I think the last real game we need to talk about here is I actually want to talk about Arizona State Colorado because two of my favorite players in the draft are in that game. But BYU Cincinnati. Um this is the Brendan Sorsby Renaissance. This is the last opportunity you really have before I say like, yeah, I go transfer somewhere else and make a lot of money. And then let's talk again next year. I have heard that one of the bigger spenders in the past year or so in the portal has been lingering there. Um, but dude, I went back and I charted the Arizona game this week, and I feel bad for Sorsby a little bit. Like the 2 interceptions were both bad. Like they were both bozo throws. But there were 6 like very brutal drops in that game as well. One was on a slot fade, one was on a deep post, one was on a glance post, one was on a dig over the middle of the field, like very like chunk throws, all dropped. And so like I kind of feel a little bit too. Like the box score was not as bad as it seemed. I think the box score was like 55% completion percentage. I had him charted like 74% on target percentage. Again, the 2 interceptions were both really bad, but like at the same time, man, come on. Um, we'll see how this plays. Again, the Big 12 is weird, so they could go in there and they could beat BYU. BYU's only 2.5-point favorites. So be interesting to watch that game. I see LJ Martin and Jake Golday square up in the hole as well. Power on power there. If
Sorsby to me, I I think you are a little bit higher on him, but I do love the idea of Sorsby. He just seems like such a 2027 prospect to me
He
that I
does.
haven't. You know, I caught up on his tape back when he was really starting to get hype before he laid an egg against Utah, right? And I haven't checked back in on him since. But
This is the first game since because they were on a bye
oh
the
really?
week before
Okay,
that.
then that
Yeah,
makes sense. So yeah, I feel like we'll probably be talking about him this summer.
I think so too, and I think we'll be talking about him at a different program.
Yeah.
Because I think he would be outside of Lenore Sellers, the most coveted quarterback in the portal, potentially in the portal.
And like I think there's a difference between what quarterback in the portal might have the highest draft potential and what quarterback in the portal you might get the best results in college football
Right.
from.
Right.
So I think that, and I think Sorsby and Sellers could both potentially fall in that like more higher draft NFL upside, and then like somebody
Mhm.
like Sam Levitt, I think I might like
Yeah.
more for college, but I'm not really as into that as an NFL prospect. Like if you get Sam Levitt on a really talented team and just let him run around in college, and you get him an offensive line where he doesn't have to run around as much, I think that could be a good college quarterback. But I'm not super into that.
No, his brand of quarterback is
Yeah,
one of my least favorite to watch.
yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to the last game here of Arizona State and Colorado. And the only thing I want to shout out here is Keith Abney versus Omarion Miller. I still love Omarion Miller, and I think, given the state of like Dion's health and the status of the program since Shador and Travis have left, I think there's a chance he could jump because I think his tape is awesome for how little we've heard about him. I think he's a true like Clydesdale on the vertical plane, really late hands, really awesome ball winner. I like him, dude. I like Omarion Miller.
Um, this will be a great matchup. If you had to guess, I know you've alluded to Keith Abney potentially going to a different school. Do you think he goes to the NFL? Do you think he transfers at this point?
His tape's getting real good again. I mean, his tape I don't think ever really dropped off that much. I don't know, dude. I think the lack of Abney and Brugler's top 50 tells me that the league still isn't on to Abney, either isn't on to Abney or isn't as high on Abney as we are, which tells me he's probably going back to school.
Yeah.
He's only a true junior. But if he declared, man, he'd go second round. I think he goes second round.
In this cornerback class, I think so, especially because a lot of the top guys have been disappointing. AJ Harris.
Can't run.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of guys in the top, a lot of top guys that I'm not sure I agreed with them being top guys,
Mm-hmm.
but like Malik Muhammad was supposedly gonna
I had a day
be,
3 grade on him coming into the season.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Yeah, DJ McKinney. We've talked a lot about Damani Jackson. Um, he has some of the worst run support reps of the
He
year.
is Charmin soft. We've had a lot of negative talk about prospects on this episode. Sorry, listeners.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I like. There's no reason for me to back off Abney.
And
Like the
then
ball skills are really good.
yeah,
He's
I took
got a
Kelly
great trigger.
Jones. I took Kelly Jones in our mock draft, but before I had watched his Week 12 tape, which was pretty rough. Brandon Sisse out of South Carolina is coming off of a bad game where he didn't play really in the second half. There's Colton Hood, who I think will probably be mid day 2, but I think that there's a real void of day 2 corners. So to me, Keith Abney should. I mean, That would be my evaluation.
Yep. I mean, I've mocked him first round still, even in
Yeah.
our mock pods. So I don't see what I'm missing. So we'll see how this goes. He's got a good test this week. This is a good test. Have you watched Omarion Miller?
Yes, I watched like 3 games back in the middle of the season, but I haven't checked back in on him these last few weeks. So
Okay.
I need to do that.
Man, he's a glider. He's just a glider. But I think that's all we got, man. Do you have anything else about this slate before we get on the move here?
That's all I got. We are going to be doing corners next week. So
That's true. Oh, I forgot my second bold take.
Oh yeah.
Caleb Banks gets a sack in his return
Yep.
against Tennessee. There we go. There we go. There's my second bold take. We had a lot of side quests on this podcast episode. We took a lot of side quests. So thanks for going with us. We will be back next week breaking it down. Again, we've been doing some reviews on Tuesday, so we have an extra day to watch tape and make sure we're really up to date on it. But we'll see how it plays out this next weekend. But and then next week's we're gonna have less episodes. Like we're not recording over Thanksgiving. I'm not.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen. We might have 2 episodes next week. You're gonna have to deal with it. But until next time, this has been the Daft on Draft podcast. See ya.